They found it where no map had promised anything: a weathered chest, buried beneath salt-slick sand, locked with a rusted hasp, and carrying the faint scent of old cedar and forgotten coin. At first, it seemed like a small-town curiosity, the kind of story that fills a quiet Sunday paper. But the papers inside, the carved reliquary, and a fragile ledger, filled with names that history had conveniently misplaced, began hinting that this was no ordinary discovery. This was a secret meant to stay buried, a treasure tied to the earliest chapters of America, hidden by men who understood exactly how to make the past disappear. What they hid, why they hid it, and who paid the price for that silence would reshape everything we thought we knew about the country's beginnings. It all began after a storm, when a teenager digging along a washed-out dune struck something wooden beneath the sand. The chest they unearthed was plain and soaked through, the sort of object that carries stories instead of shouting them. Inside were coins aged into green patina, a hand-drawn chart inked by someone who'd traveled half the world, and a bundle of letters that crackled like dried leaves. Locals argued over theories: pirate loot, Civil War remnants, or maybe a widow's savings swept out by the tide. But the coins didn't match those stories. Their origins pointed to trade routes that suggested deliberate movement, not random loss. The chart hinted at voyages that should not have existed, and the letters, once decoded, mentioned dates and individuals that were nowhere in public history but appeared in old secret ledgers. Suddenly, the sleepy coastal town found itself at the center of a mystery that powerful people would rather have stayed silent. To understand the chest, one had to follow the routes drawn on that chart: trade lines that once carried sugar, manuscripts, and fortunes. The items inside were not the scattered remains of a shipwreck. They were pieces of a planned operation. The ledger showed merchants whose warehouses quietly shaped economies, naval captains whose routes never appeared in public logs, and signatures linking distant ports with a purpose hidden beneath layers of influence. The treasure appeared to be part of a shadow network of wealth money, moved quietly to steer early American politics, to buy loyalty, secure votes, and build futures in dimly lit back rooms. This discovery exposed how fragile and manipulated those early economic systems truly were. It showed that while history remembers noble pioneers and hard-working settlers, another quieter world was shaping the nation's direction, one where coin and secrecy worked hand in hand. The more the documents were studied, the clearer it became who had wanted this story silenced. The letters revealed names of land speculators whose fortunes would crumble if the truth emerged, political figures whose reputations depended on hidden payments, and religious leaders whose records, once examined closely, were far from clean. The ledger hinted at bribes, rerouted shipments, and legal documents altered to protect powerful interests. These were people who had everything to gain from burying the chest and everything to lose if it surfaced. Their methods for controlling the narrative were subtle: quiet threats, disguised as advice, courtroom delays, and the strategic disappearance of old public records. When wealthy men decided that a story would not survive, they had the means to erase it from memory. This treasure wasn't just about gold, it was about a version of history written by those who benefited from silence. But a mystery like this attracts people who refuse to look away. Soon, a retired archivist with a talent for reading ancient handwriting, a young marine biologist who understood coastal currents better than anyone, a determined local reporter, and a descendant of one of the ledger's signatories formed an unlikely group. They were united by curiosity, frustration, and a desire to uncover the truth, no matter how uncomfortable it became. Their search wasn't glamorous. It was built on late nights, old maps, courthouse closets, and moments of realization that felt like opening a window in a long-closed room. They uncovered seals, signatures, boat logs, and letters stored in places no one had checked in decades. Yet each step forward brought new challenges: lost access to archives, unexpected legal pressure, and sudden offers of money to look the other way. Their pursuit of the truth became a test of ethics, loyalty, and personal courage. And what they found didn't offer simple heroes or villains, only flawed people making difficult choices in a young nation, still learning what justice meant. When the chest finally became public knowledge, the town faced a choice. Would they allow the story to reshape their identity, or would they soften it into legend and protect the comfortable version of their past? The evidence coins, letters, documents could not be forgotten. Families argued about restitution. Historians debated interpretations, and ordinary citizens questioned what it meant to inherit a history built on secrets. The chest forced everyone to confront the truth that the past is never as simple as we want it to be. The most powerful moments were not the dramatic discoveries, but the small human ones. An elderly woman counting coins once dismissed as worthless. A clerk updating a registry that had been wrong for generations. A child tracing trade routes on a school map and asking whose hands shaped this land. That child's question lingered. If this story had stayed hidden, how much more might still be buried? The chest was never just a box of old valuables. It was a reminder that history is fragile, shaped by those who record it and those who erase it. Its contents didn't accuse anyone outright. They simply revealed choices made long ago, choices that still echo today. The question isn't whether the past was perfect, it's whether we're willing to confront the parts of it that were hidden. And as the final pieces of the mystery settled into place, one thought became impossible to ignore. If you had found that chest beneath the sand, if the weight of its truth had fallen into your hands, what would you have done?